All right, welcome back. Thank you so much. Please be seated. Thank you so much. We'll continue with examination of the witness from yesterday.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing I want to talk to you about is your work at the hospital on the night of the shooting on March 8th, okay?
Okay.
You went to the hospital with the deceased's body, in essence, right? And collected some items from his person.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things that you collected was a set of keys.
Yes, sir.
First witness.
Yes, sir.
Showing you defendants too.
Yes.
Is this the photograph you took of the keys?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'm going to tender defendants too.
No objection.
2 is admitted. Thank you.
Permission to publish?
Yes.
You can see it here. Let me see if I can zoom in some. At the tail end of the keys, we see the Kia emblem, if you will.
On the key fob. Yes.
On the key fob, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Okay. On the key fob, you see the words Kia.
Yes.
Okay. When you got to, now we're going to the residence now, okay, 4238, okay?
Yes.
When you got to the residence 4238, there were 2 vehicles there.
Yes, sir.
One of them was a Porsche
Yes.
and one was a Kia.
Correct.
And your understanding, of course, is the Kia was owned by Mr. Barron.
Didn't run a search on them, but I understand that that was his vehicle, yes.
Okay. The next day, you went back to 4238 to take photographs.
Yes.
In other words, the night's over, you've gone back, it's daytime, and you're at 4238 to gather more evidence, take photographs, things like that.
Right.
And at this point, there's only one car that's still there, correct? The Porsche.
Yes.
Okay. Kia's gone, Porsche is still there.
Yes.
You didn't make any, and I don't think you did, I'm not trying to trick you or anything, you didn't make any investigation into the operability of the Porsche.
No.
Okay, in other words, whether it would run.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Something else that was in Mr. Barron's pockets that you collected was his cell phone.
Yes.
And can you, may I first witness? I think this one might be it, right?
Yes, that's my understanding. That's the one that came from the hospital. The one from the scene had a blue case.
Right. There were, in this case, there's 2 different cell phones involved, right?
Right.
One has, may I publish 179, Judge? It's already been, well, it's already in. It's already in.
Yes.
This is states 179, and I'm going to back up now if I can do it. Let me turn it in a better way here. States 179 is Mr. Barron's cell phone that you collected at the hospital on the night of March the 8th.
Yes, it came from the hospital with his possessions.
And it has this kind of, I don't know, what we'll call that, maybe tan or clear kind of case on it.
Yes.
Now, the next, well, let me make totally clear about this. There's the other cell phone that's involved is Miss Mericle's cell phone.
Yeah, I didn't actually run anything on the cell phones. I've got 2 cell phones I collected. The one that we're looking at in this photograph came from the hospital. The one that was in the blue case came from the scene.
Right. And it came from a very specific place in the scene. Approach witness. Showing you State's Exhibit 96.
Yes, sir.
And may I publish, Judge?
Yes.
It's already been. On State's 96, we're looking at the blue cell phone. You don't attribute that to Miss Mericle, but the blue cell phone that's at the top of the stairs right outside the room where the shooting happened.
Yes.
And approach the witness, Judge.
Yes.
Showing you State's Exhibit 99.
Okay.
That's your lab photo of the
Of the same phone, yes.
In other words, not the night of, but later photo that you took of the phone. May I publish 99?
Yes.
Turn it some so you guys won't have to look sideways. Like some cell phones have notifications you can give yourself to do certain things, timers that you build into your calendar and things like that, right?
Yes.
And we've got two kind of pop-ups on the blue phone. One of them is a push-ups notification, and the other one's something about squats.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I want to talk to you about the two different types of rounds or bullets. I'm going to use the word bullets, but the correct word is rounds, right?
Whichever one you want to use.
What? All right. Which one would you prefer?
It depends on what you're talking about.
The whole thing.
The whole thing I'll refer to as a round. You can refer to it as a bullet.
A round meaning the whole thing. It means the shell, which is the outer casing.
The casing.
The bullet, which is inside of the actual casing.
Correct.
And then whatever the cover is over the bullet or the lead. Whatever the casing over that is.
The jackets, yes.
The jacket, okay. And in this case, we have two different types, right?
Correct.
One of the types is the type that was in Mr. Barron's Beretta.
Correct.
And you've referred to that as a Hornady.
Yeah.
Hornady. It's the brand.
It's the brand name, yes.
It's a brand name, but it's a style of bullet. It's a style of round,
The
type of round.
type of round, yes. I mean, you've got the Hornady, which was a hollow point round.
Okay. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same sheet of music about what that means, okay?
Okay.
So you've got Hornady, which is a brand, but it is a hollow point round.
The rounds in the, yes. I mean, Hornady makes multiple rounds, but what we're looking at in this one is a hollow point round.
This one,
Yes.
we're talking about hollow points. And it is and was associated with the Beretta.
Correct.
The Beretta is not the gun that ended up ending Mr. Barron's life.
Correct.
The other type of round that we have in this case is a Jag.
The brand is Jag, yes, or
It's a Jag brand, but it is a full metal jacket.
it's a full metal jacket. And I don't want to get real picky with the Jag. When I was trying to research, Jag is just a manufacturer. It's not necessarily coming back to a specific brand. That brass can be manufactured for multiple different companies.
Is this sort of a cheaper bullet, if you will?
I'm not sure. I didn't locate any Jag ammunition to.
Well, generally, a hollow point's a more expensive round to buy than a full metal jacket.
Yes,
People use full metal jackets for things like target practice.
correct.
In other words, if you go to the range, That's what target practice means, right?
Correct.
This is not good writing. This, the JAG round, the full metal jacket round, the target practice round, is inside of the Glock,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
And there's really no question here about how many shots were fired from the 9mm Glock pistol, correct?
Correct.
We've got
found
one shot.
one round that was recovered, yes.
One round that's recovered, and one round, as far as you know, you don't have evidence of that 9mm being shot any other place. Is that
No.
correct? Okay. This is the shot that came from this full metal jacket round and went through this door then through, showing you states 5. It's already admitted, Judge, may I publish?
Yes.
This is the round that went through here. I'm trying to get this thing closer if I can. Let me back it up. Through the door, through the wall edge there, and then eventually struck Mr. Barron.
Yes.
If that shot had been shot with a hollow point bullet, gone through that door, then through that wall, we're talking about a different type of an impact. Fair guess.
Possibly, yes.
Possibly, possibly may not even have killed Mr. Barron.
It depends on how well the bullet actually stayed intact. The hollow point is designed to expand and open up, where the round full metal jacket is designed to go just straight through.
Exactly. And we can't ever, you can't recreate this and come up with, you know, a certainty here, but the fact of the matter is, if this had been a hollow point, it may not have killed Mr. Barron. You don't disagree with that?
It could have, because it's a hollow point, it could have expanded out when it went through the wall and went through the door, and it could have had a different velocity on impact, so.
Now, we know, again, that this Glock shot one shot, right?
Yes.
Question is, how many shots came from this Beretta? That's what I want to talk to you about, okay?
Okay.
Now, correct me if I am wrong, but I think you said yesterday that you think there were 3 shots from the Beretta.
Yes.
Okay. One of the shots, the shell, was actually still stuck in the barrel of the Beretta.
Still in the chamber, yes.
It was still in the chamber.
Yes.
And when you got there, you are dealing with that firearm and you discover you've got a firearm with the shell still inside of the barrel.
Chambered, yes.
The chamber. Okay, thank you. There's a shell still inside the chamber. We know that that shot was shot, obviously, because it doesn't have its bullet.
Doesn't have the projectile, the missile, yes.
Doesn't have the projectile.
It's a fired round.
It's a fired round. For sure that was fired. It's still stuck in the gun.
Yes.
And we think, based upon your review of the scene, that you've got 2 more shots.
Yes.
Okay. And whoever fired those 3 shots Whoever fired those would presumably know how many shots they fired. True?
Yes.
It's been proposed that Miss Mericle was staging the scene by firing these shots. You understand that that's being
Yes.
suggested? If she's staging the scene to make it look like Mr. Barron has fired at her 3 times, why does she tell the police that he shot once?
I'm going to object.
I'm
That
not-
calls for speculation as to what was on the defendant's mind and not, maybe it could be rephrased, but I don't think that's the appropriate form of that question.
Are you aware how many times she said?
Okay, so I'll sustain the objection. You can go at it another way.
Are you aware how many times she said Mr. Barron shot at her?
No, I'm not.
Okay. I want to talk to you now about the unfortunate shot that took Mr. Barron's life, the one that was fired through that door, okay?
Okay.
You made and undertook an investigation to try to find out exactly how far away, as best you could, the barrel of her gun was at the time the shot was fired.
Yes, a general.
And again, I know you're not telling these folks it was 6 inches. You're saying that's the range, that's where I think it was.
Right.
It could be further than 6 inches, could be shorter,
Yes.
okay? But 6 inches is your guess, your best guess.
Yes.
What you did was you went to your lab, which I'm calling it your lab, but you did this outside.
Yes.
You fired some test shots from 2 different ranges.
Yes.
One of them was from 3 inches away and one of them was from 6 inches.
Correct.
And you'd agree with me, you never did a test fire beyond 6 inches.
No, not with this.
May I approach the witness, Judge?
Yes.
What number are we on? D3? Thank you. Showing you defendants 3.
Yes, sir.
You recognize that?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what it is basically?
This is a photograph of the test shots. You can see the 6-inch labeling down at the bottom. It's been fired into a door panel as well.
Gotcha. Does it fairly and accurately represent the photo you took of the 6-inch test fire in this case?
Yes.
Tendering defendants 3? I'm going to hand that to you.
No objection.
Admitted.
Defendants 3, may I publish, Judge?
Yes.
There's 2 things that come out before I publish this. There's 2 things besides the bullet, besides the projectile, there's 2 things that are coming out the front of the barrel when you fire a shot from a gun like this. 2 types of substances. Let me help you with that.
You're going to have the projectile that's going to come forth, and you're also going to have the residue, the stippling that we talked about yesterday, powder residue and stippling, yes.
So it's powder residue, which is, it's unburned material that comes out along with the bullet.
The stippling,
Burn, the stippling's burning.
powder is, well, I mean, it's burning as well. You get the powder residue, but you have the stippling that will impact and stay where the powder does not.
Gotcha. Would you agree with the characterization that it's 2 different substances? Or is it the same substance, one of them burns and leaves a stippling burning into the material, and the other one's just powder?
I would say it's just powder where the stippling is.
Is it the same substance, it's just one's burning and one's not, or they're both burning?
One is fired, I mean, it's burned.
Okay.
The stippling is more particles that still remain intact where the powder is Disintegrated, I guess you could say.
It's powder is a good word. That's why we use the word
Right.
powder. Let me show you Defendant's Exhibit 3. When we look at Defendant's 3, I'm looking for that pointer, I'm sorry. It's right there. Where you've notated, can you all hear me? Where you've notated 6 with the open.
6-inch mark, yes.
The 2 dashes that we commonly call inches. That's just your notation. This is a 6-inch away shot that you made.
Right.
And what we see here is, in addition to the stippling that you testified about yesterday, is powder.
Correct.
And it's even in like a little fan. It kind of fans out because the bullet comes out.
It's twisting, it's turning in a,
It's twisting just like the projectile. And so we get this powder that, if you're close enough, you're going to have powder in addition to stippling.
yes,
And this is a dark surface because you were trying to recreate the door here.
right.
The door here is a black door,
Dark, black, yes.
a dark, yeah, I'll call it black.
Charcoal black, yes.
Okay. And the paint that you used on your test door is the same, as close as you can get.
It's close.
Okay. And it left this white twisty powder all over the outside of the door, all over the outside.
Around the test fire area, yes.
And when you came and took photos of the scene of 4238, States 59's already been published. Isn't that public? It's already been tendered, man. Isn't that public?
Yes.
Do it like that. The photos from the scene from that night, these are taken that night,
Yes,
that door, you would agree, does not have any of that powder that twists and would indicate the powder flew out and stuck to the door.
correct.
Now,
But,
and.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What you're looking at, the stippling, the reason we're looking at the stippling instead of the powder burn is the powder is not going to impact and stay on the door. The stippling is actually going to impact, this is what you're seeing around the entrance there, the little pricks, the little impact points. Those we're looking at because they'll stay. Powder is, like we discussed, is powder.
Powder.
It's going to fall off, it's going to dissipate. And even with the impacts to the door, I would imagine that you could easily hit it and wipe away the powder versus where the stippling is going to stay in place.
In other words, you believe the reason we don't see any of this powder is because this door was struck with a hammer in these other places.
It was struck and it was also pushed in, but the photographs with the powder that are around the demonstration that we did, those were taken within just a few minutes, where the photos were taken here after time had elapsed. So, I mean,
Sure, time had elapsed, but this is powder that was fired at this door on this night.
yes,
And you weren't there, the next day and taking these pictures. This is the night of.
the morning of or after, yeah, it's early morning, so it's a few hours, but yes.
And you know what time it was you got on scene? Can you check?
The warrant was signed, or we were informed at 3:45 in the morning. Originally, I responded before I went to the ER, but the time that the search warrant was signed, we went into the house at 3:45.
3:45 a.m. If the shooting happened at between 1:06 and 1:10 a.m., that's about, what, 3 hours?
3 hours or so.
That sort of leads me into my next area that I want to talk to you about, okay? When you are doing your work as a crime scene investigator, the integrity of the crime scene is very important to you.
Yes.
You want to make sure that it hasn't been tampered with.
Yes.
You want to make sure it hasn't been contaminated.
Correct.
You wouldn't want, if you had all the power in the world, which I know you don't, right? But you wouldn't want people traipsing in and out of the crime scene. True?
True.
The goal is to have this crime scene be as pure as you can possibly be.
Correct.
And what's going on in that room where the shooting took place before you get there is important to you.
Yes.
And who's been in there and what they've been doing, you'd want to know that.
Right.
And you knew by the time you got to the crime scene on March the 8th at 3:45, I got that right?
Second time, yes.
Second time. Well, even, I guess let's go to the first time. Even by the time you got there the first time, which you said was, what time?
It was earlier than that. Let's see. I believe it was around 2 when I got to, or just after 2 when I got to the hospital. When I drove by there, I just drove by and realized we didn't have the search warrant yet, so I went to the hospital instead, so.
And at this point, as you know, if you're going to the hospital, Mr. Barron's body's already been taken out of there.
Correct.
And showing you State's Exhibit 49 that was previously offered, published.
Yes.
What you knew is that at least 3 or 4 folks from fire EMS had been up into that room in addition to the 2 deputies that had already been in there.
Correct.
They had opened up this patient transporter by Curaplex, right?
Right.
The instructions apparently got left behind and somehow a bullet got on top of it, or a bullet got on top of the instructions.
Yes.
And just looking at what this thing is, this patient transporter, it appears to be some sort of a supporting bottom to it and some sort of a vinyl maybe cover to set the body on.
Right.
Did you undertake to watch the body camera of the police officers who were close enough to see Mr. Barron's body being carried out of the room and down the stairs and out?
I didn't see the full body cam where they were carrying or working on him or carrying him down, no.
Are you aware that there is body camera of him being carried out of that room and down the stairs?
Yes.
Okay. Do you disagree that on that body camera, there's again about 4 EMS folks, they've got him on this contraption and they're just walking him right down those stairs, those 2 landings of stairs and on their way out?
I'm going to object, Judge, because Sergeant Durham hasn't seen the body cam.
And I'd be happy to show it to him.
I apologize, I'm a little confused. I thought he said he was aware.
He did say he was aware.
I mean, I'm aware, I didn't see the full body cam, I didn't see the people taking them out. I'm aware as a crime scene person, when you get to the scene, you're gonna have officers clearing the scene, you're gonna have fire and EMS that are there working them. So I'm aware that they're there and they're doing that. I believe I even mentioned there's a blood smear on the wall that was more consistent with them carrying the body out as leaving the smear as to any kind of really relevant.
Fair point. All right, without commenting on the evidence, I mean, if he knows, great. If not, I mean, it sounds like standard operating procedure. So as of the state's objection, that's sustained, but you can go about another way.
Give me 2 seconds. This work.
Gotta find that body cam video. It's
There are spots of blood on the stairs. And I'm going to show you. States 29 and 30. Can I approach the witness, Jeff?
Yes.
He's been previously admitted.
Yes.
Yep. May I publish these, Judge?
Yes.
Showing you 30. What we can see here on 30 is spots here, here, there,
Blood drops, yes, sir.
blood drops. And these are the type of blood drops you talked about before. They're passive, right?
More of a passive, yes, a straight down drop.
They're straight down drops, and we know they're straight down drops because they're circular.
Correct.
They don't have a tail on them one way or another.
Right.
Okay. And these are consistent with, well, of course, first of all, this is the path that Mr. Barron's body was carried out, landing to landing and out of the home.
Yes.
And it's not an enclosed, he wasn't placed in a body bag. He wasn't encased by something.
No, they are, from my understanding, EMS worked him at the scene, so he's being treated.
He's being treated. And your understanding was he still had some sort of a discernible pulse when they got there. Did you know that?
No, I mean, they're working him, so I'm assuming,
Okay. In other words, they didn't arrive and go, okay, he's deceased, we can't.
they didn't just leave him, they did take the body and take him in for treatment, so I'm not sure what they had at the time, indications or whatever.
And you wouldn't disagree with me to say the source of these is likely the body being carried out down the stairs.
No, I'm not going to disagree with it. I mean, it's very probable it was.
When we look at states 45, the published Judge Smith is,
Yes.
in states 45, we can see, here's the little instructions for the carrying item, right?
Correct.
We've got that towel,
Correct.
and there's even blood over here.
Yes.
And we know his body originally was in this position by the time the deputies came in.
Right.
We didn't get to watch how EMS and fire got him onto this contraption and how they got him out of that room, so we just don't know that.
Correct.
We don't know if they had to, he weighed 235 pounds, you're aware of that, right?
No,
Weren't aware of that?
but
You
I saw the body, so yes, that's,
You don't disagree with 235.
no,
6'3", you don't disagree with that?
no.
Okay, and I know you didn't measure him or anything like that, but, so he's in this position originally, somehow he's turned to get out of there, and several individuals, as far as we understand, load him up and get down the stairs.
Correct.
And we don't know if they loaded him on and spun him initially, correct?
No, I don't,
You wouldn't know because you didn't see it.
no.
Right, and that's, I'm not putting that on you, I want these folks to know what we know and what we don't, okay? This bag here was another one of the items that was in the crime scene.
Correct.
And you did inspect that bag, and
The case, yes, it was collected.
this item here also has blood on it.
The towel?
The bag.
Yes.
The bag had blood, on the bottom of it, on the sides, all that stuff,
Yes.
right?
Well, yes, I had it on the drips that were coming down on the top of it.
Drips on top of the bag as well.
Yes.
That passive sort of drip that you sort of identified over here,
Right.
meaning drop down.
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk to you about this holster that we see in 45 in the corner here.
Okay.
Okay? You testified about the holster earlier, so I want to make sure that we're all on the same sheet of music about what you found and what it means, okay?
Okay.
The holster itself, when you look at it with the naked eye, you can kind of see some blood, but it's not like screaming at you. Is that accurate?
Yes, there's some smearing, it looks like, on a couple of places that you can see, but then you've got darker areas that it's harder to see, so.
It's sort of like, this door, on the back of this door at the bottom, you can see that that's blood. It's
Yes.
pretty obvious, right? You didn't have a question about that from the start.
No, it's,
And the floor.
right,
And also, even that bag, right? The bag itself.
correct. It's,
Naked eye versus using a tool, they're two different things.
correct.
And what you noticed after you put the reagent onto the holster is somebody with a bloody hand picked up that holster and probably unclipped it.
Yes,
That's a fair conclusion, right?
yes,
And we think, obviously, that it happened within this room.
that's fair, yes,
Fair guess, right?
yes,
And what we notice when we look at the barefoot prints here in this area is it seems like, let me see if I can get a better picture for you. Let's go with states 43. Did that publish?
Yes.
Take a look at states 43 at the top. It's like left foot, right foot. You see that?
yes,
It's like left foot, right up to the edge of the bed there,
correct,
right? With bare feet.
yes,
And then turning
yes.
and heading back over to the place where Mr. Barron's body is.
Yes,
That would be consistent with someone with bare feet walking over to the bed, picking up the holster, unclipping it, taking out the gun, and walking back over to where Mr. Barron was.
Yes.
Bless you. One of the things that you were investigating, in addition to blood stuff and holster, was with respect to the Beretta pistol that you think fired 3 different shots.
Yes.
And one of the questions you had was, okay, I've got blood all over this Beretta. I can see that. Anybody can see that, right? Everybody knew that.
Right.
The question was, hey, did somebody take this thing and actually load it, right? Did they put the magazine in after they had blood on their hands and all that? That was a question.
Question, yeah, it's not necessarily loaded it. It was, did the magazine come out? Was it checked? Was it examined?
The question is, though, did somebody actually take the magazine out after they had blood on their hands? That's a question that you had.
Yes.
And you took steps to test any suspect marks on the magazine to say, okay, do we have Mr. Barron's blood or anybody else's blood on this magazine?
Correct.
Because if it's on the magazine, that means the person must have done a whole lot with that gun. Must have, maybe even put the bullets in the top and loaded the thing in and then cocked it, right? Blood on the magazine.
Yeah, my question, what I was thinking more along the lines of with that, because you had the live rounds that were laying on the floor, is if the gun was jamming and they had to be cleared versus loading the magazine.
Okay.
I mean, I know what you're asking, but my question was more, did it ever eject from, handled, and then reinserted versus loading?
Okay.
If that's,
The point was you wanted to find out if this magazine ever came out during this whole thing.
right,
And so you tested it. This is not the actual gun. This is a replica, right?
yes,
Okay. So I'm not pointing this at you guys. You tested the inside magazine. Hey, does this thing have Mr. Barron's blood on it? That was a question you had, and so you tested it for that.
yes,
And the answer was no.
correct,
No blood on the magazine. Correct?
correct,
You just mentioned something about the jam. Because remember, we've got a shell stuck in the chamber,
correct,
right? Once the shell is stuck in the chamber and it doesn't come out when it's fired like it's designed to, and you did some of this yesterday, but I want to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about. When you fire one of these, it's a semi-automatic pistol. When you fire one of these, what it does is the pressure of the shot sends the slide back, right?
yes,
And it ejects the shell casing. It's
Correct.
functioning properly, right?
yes,
So you shoot, the thing flies back and throws out a shell casing. With me? That's correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you said this, sometimes it doesn't.
correct,
Sometimes the shell casing doesn't fly back and get popped out. Sometimes it doesn't fly back, it stays in the chamber.
correct,
And in this case, that's exactly what happened.
yes,
Because we found the shell casing still stuck in the chamber.
correct,
At that point, this gun will no longer fire unless it's clear.
correct,
And if it's jammed, because there's a shell casing in there, and I'm trying to unjam it, let's say, right? And I put my hand up here on the top of it and do this, I can get my hand caught in there.
yes. Or on the back, the rear sight, yes, you can
You
get
used a term
caught.
for it yesterday. Some sort of pinch or something, bite. You called it something bite, you remember that? When you
I'm
get your
trying.
hand caught, you used the term, you don't remember that? I just did it myself.
I mean, you can pinch it, but no, I don't remember
The term.
the term yesterday. I'm sorry.
The point is, if you do this and it's jammed, you can get your hand caught in it, right?
Yes.
And that's what we think happened in this case, right?
Which
That
injury?
Miracle's hand got jammed in the top of the,
Yes, I mean, I saw a photograph later on, I didn't see the hand, so I mean, but yeah.
okay. It's okay if this isn't your thing, you're doing the crime scene, you don't have anything to do with that, but did you ever look at the injury that she has to her hand right here and try to match it up and say that's consistent with?
No, I didn't.
Okay. If I'm trying to do that, if I've got a jammed gun and I'm trying to get it to unjam, okay? And I've got it all the way open this far to try to do that, something else is gonna happen too, right? Meaning.
Which one I'm trying to see what you're,
Uh,
can I step down and just see?
yeah,
Thank you.
All right. If I've got it, you can come on over here.
I don't want to block your face. Okay.
If I've got it jammed, because there's a shell stuck in the chamber,
Okay.
and I'm trying to get it like this, right? And now I've gotten it caught in my hand, for one. But two, if I get it this far back, some of those bullets can start popping out, right?
Yes, I mean, it's. Pause for a second, just.
Yeah.
All right. Let go. When you're talking about the shell casing still being down in here,
Exactly.
if it tries to feed and doesn't pull the shell casing out, you can have a round that starts to come up out of the magazine.
Exactly.
Just pushed from the magazine.
And if I keep doing that, I can have bullets that fall out all over the floor.
You can knock a couple off, or you can knock one at a time out as they're feeding, you can.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's what we're,
That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Exactly. And I'm trying to unjam this gun, and I've got bullets, let's say, unspent, unshot bullets. I'm using the word bullet, the whole thing.
that's,
They're coming out, they're falling all over the floor. Possible?
you could, yes, you could have rounds coming out while you're trying to clear the jams.
Chris, we're going for? Approach witness, Judge.
Yes.
Showing you defendants 4 and 5. Recognize these?
Yes, I do.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
These are Mr. Barron at the hospital after he's unfortunately deceased.
Yes.
Okay. They fairly and accurately represent Mr. Barron on March the 8th when he went to the hospital?
Yes, I do.
Okay. May I tender defendants 4 and 5?
I'm sorry, numbers.
4 and 5.
No objection.
Okay.
I just don't know if you want to cover up this.
Don't, actually. Are 4 and 5 admitted?
Objection.
I'm sorry,
No objection.
admitted.
May I publish?
Yes.
Now, these do depict Mr. Barron's body, so they're, they are the nude body, okay? Defendants 4. And defendants 5. things I want to ask you about these questions, about these pictures, okay?
Okay.
One of them is about his genital area, for lack of a better term. Okay?
Okay.
You would agree with me that his genitals appear to be shaved or have had the hair removed from them from some means?
Yes, I mean, they're clear.
And do you have any information about how that took place with respect to Mr. Barron?
No, sir, I don't.
The other thing I want to ask you about is his hands.
Yes.
Here we see that they have evidence bags around them,
Yes, sir.
and that was done by you.
No.
Who was it that put the evidence bags on, if you know?
When he arrived at the hospital, apparently the ER staff did. That was not anything that I did.
Okay. Do you know what the purpose might be for them doing that?
Objection,
If you
calls
know.
for speculation.
If you know.
Overruled if he knows.
It's just sometimes a standard practice that they'll wrap the hands or bag the hands, so to speak, for trace evidence.
For trace evidence, and the trace evidence can be, trace evidence just means stuff that can be tested related to his hands.
Correct.
It could mean what they call gunshot residue.
It could be gunshot residue, it could be skin or hairs, fibers under the fingernails, cuts or abrasions to the hands.
What evidence do we have that Mr. Barron did not fire the Beretta on March the 7th or into March the 8th?
We didn't do any testing on gunshot residue. So if that's what you're asking,
I'm asking what proof do we have that he did not fire a firearm on March the 7th or the 8th?
I don't know if he did or did not.
We on 6?
Yes.
The first witness,
Yes.
showing you defendant's exhibit 6. Take a look at that.
Yes, sir.
This, you would agree, this is that area where the shooting took place with a new door put in place.
That's what it appears to be, yes, sir.
And obviously, it's not this door, but
Correct.
do we have a photo of the outside of the bedroom with the door closed that you're aware of? That you took?
Completely closed?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. I can't remember. There were quite a few shots, but I think most of them, they were
Door was already open, yeah. Without a shot of the door, what it looks like with it closed, is it tough for us to know what it was Ms. Mericle was looking at, would you say?
I mean, it would just,
Expect that that's argumentative, Judge.
Do you have a response to the objection?
I don't think it's argumentative. I'm just seeing if the witness agrees that we can't recreate for the jury what it was that she was looking at outside the door.
Overruled.
Thank you, Judge.
you're standing there looking at a closed door and going into a bedroom.
You
Or
don't-
going into a room.
You don't disagree that this is really super probably close, besides it doesn't have a handle? It's probably really
It
close.
would be a closed door. Yes, sir.
Okay, but it's of that exact room?
Yes.
Okay. I'll move to tender defendant's exhibit 6.
I don't know that we've established witness and say it's a true and accurate picture of what it purports to show.
It's demonstrative only, and it's our only means to show what it looked like.
I object.
Okay. Members of the jury, without commenting on any evidence or anything along those lines, there is, lack of a better term, real evidence, meaning things that come into evidence. So for example, and again, not commenting on the evidence, the real Beretta, which is in a box, and then we have demonstrative evidence, which is not real evidence. For example, the mock-up of a Beretta. So that's not real evidence, it's just what's called demonstrative evidence. So what defense counsel has in his hands is not quote-unquote real evidence, but it's demonstrative evidence, and I will allow it for that purpose and that purpose only.
Thank you, Judge. The published defendant 6, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you. I want to talk to you now, and this is the last thing I want to talk to you about, okay? I want to talk to you now about how we can divine or infer questions about intent from the defendant to the extent that you can, okay?
Okay.
You don't disagree with me that this shot went through roughly this seam, right?
And I'm going to object as to this shot and this seam is because there's no shot or seam on the door. So he's asking a question with facts that are not in evidence. There's no shots on the demonstrative door. And I don't know which shot he's talking about.
I can fix that.
So I'll sustain that objection. Go ahead.
The shot, the fatal shot, which came from the Glock 9mm, right?
Yes.
Went through the door, right?
Correct.
Then through that wall and then struck Mr. Barron,
Yes.
right? And you've got a diagram of where you think he was. Do you have that up there? There, which one shot? I think I. Oh, okay, great. States 181, Judge, previously admitted, man, published.
Yes.
This is our, and it's not to scale, and you made that very,
Correct.
very clear. You know, the room is not the size there that it really is, right?
Right.
And none of this is to scale, but the gist of this is, we think he's here. We know it goes through the door, through the wall, and then it strikes him right on the side.
Correct.
We know that for a fact, that it struck him right here.
Yes.
And then it went into his body and unfortunately struck a major life-preserving artery. I think it was, what was it? Thoracic. Right?
Right.
She's outside of a closed door and makes a shot that you would agree, if it's maybe an inch to the left, misses him completely.
Inch to the left, inch right. The,
An inch to the left, misses him completely. Or an inch to the right, for that matter.
if it's, I don't know if I would say an inch.
Okay,
I mean,
tell me how far off she's got to be to miss him. And I know that this isn't, you're not telling these folks this is science. I've done a measurement, but You've been to the scene, you've examined the evidence, you've looked at this door, you did measurements, did everything.
Well, you're talking about the width of the person too. I mean, you're shooting through the door, it's coming through the door, and it's, let's say the mask. Sting.
What is?
No, you're good. Let's just say this is the wall. Okay?
Yes, sir.
The door's right here, you're shooting through at an angle like this. I don't know if an inch one way or the other. Several inches possibly.
Okay.
Okay, but an inch one way or the other is going to miss because you're talking about coming from here, coming through, and you're striking here, and I'm several inches wide, so I can't tell you, you know what I'm saying? I can't tell you that an inch in one direction would have not been a fatal shot, or an inch in the other direction would not be a fatal shot. I mean,
You would agree that this is either an incredibly skilled shot if she's intending to take his life. This is a very skilled shot through a closed door where she can't see a thing on the other side.
And I'm going to object, that
If
calls
she's
for
intending to kill him.
speculation, Judge.
He's been to the scene. He can give his opinion about that.
State's objection again.
Argumentative and calls for speculation.
Defense response.
He's the expert witness in the crime scene, and he's entitled to give an opinion about these things.
If he knows, I'll allow it. If he doesn't, that's fine.
repeat it one more time. Let's make sure we're.
This is either an incredibly skilled shot from a tremendously gifted marksman, or it's something else.
And something
If
else
you're-
is a little open-ended, Judge.
Or it's not that.
And that's an ultimate issue question, Judge.
It's not an ultimate issue.
All right, time out. I'm going to authorize the question. Go ahead and ask it again.
This is a skilled shot if she's intending to hit him.
If she's intending to hit him.
Yes. Yes, it is it's a
You're-
skilled shot.
Let him answer.
I'm not, my opinion is, you're talking about a distance of about 12 inches, let's say fired from another 6 or 8 inches, whatever, from outside the door. If you're shooting completely blank without hearing anything, seeing anything, you're behind a closed door, you don't know where the person is, but if you are talking or if you are in the middle of a conversation, if you have a sound to shoot at, I don't know if I would call it an incredibly skilled shot. Does that,
With the tool of hearing, a person could find someone in a room through a closed door, is what you're suggesting.
yes.
Yes.
If you hear somebody talking, if you hear the movement and if I've got something, I'm standing in front of a door, if I'm standing in front of a wall, it's blank, I can't see through it, but if I hear something in a certain direction, I know which way to shoot.
If a person then doesn't have the tool of good hearing, it's a more difficult shot.
It could be, yes.
If a person is intending to kill someone through a closed door, why would they only shoot once?
If I'm shooting through the door,
Person who's intending to kill someone through a closed
okay,
door.
let's say, I'm not intending to kill someone, but if I am,
If you were,
if I was to try to kill someone, or if I'm deliberately aiming for someone, I've got the door closed, I hear the movement, I fire the shot, I hear the person fall, why am I going to keep shooting? I mean, that's,
One got it done.
pretty much.
If I want him dead, why do I hammer through the door like a maniac to get to him?
And I'm going to object that that calls for what was in somebody else's mind and is argumentative and can be saved for closing argument.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Sustained.
Would you agree that running downstairs, grabbing a claw hammer and bashing through the door to get to him is evidence that she doesn't intend for him to die? Or would you not?
Objection, same objection, Judge. It's what was she thinking, and that, this witness cannot answer what someone else was thinking.
I think he can give his opinion about what the damage to the door indicates, or could be inferred to indicate.
And Judge, it's speculation as to what was in someone else's mind, not as to the physical evidence.
Okay, so as to what's in someone else's mind, that I'll sustain that. As far as the alleged crime scene, I'll authorize that, but that's the ruling.
Okay. I said that was my last area, but we're gonna do one more thing. I'm sorry. Would you mind if we can set this up? I'll do it with you. Judge, can I set up the door?
Let's take a 10, 15-minute break, and then we'll come back. Thank you. We're in recess till the jurors are ready. Thank you. All right, welcome back. Let's go ahead and bring the jurors in. Thank you. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Welcome back. All right, thank you so much. Please be seated. Continue with examination, please.
Investigator Durham, before I let you go, I wanted to talk about specifically the trajectory of the fatal shot that went through the door that we see here. And you've marked this. I don't know what number it is. I'm sorry.
It's 198.
The door is 198, Judge. One of the first things that you did when you were working with 198, well, first, you took it with you, obviously, from the scene.
Correct.
You unhinged it.
Yes.
Okay. And you took it from the scene and brought it back to your lab and have had it there until now, until yesterday when we brought it over here.
Well, it's been in the lab and property and evidence. It's been, yes, it's been secured.
And the first question, or one of the first questions you had was, what is the angle of the shot through the door, right?
Right.
And this is, this is not a to scale angle here, but this being 90 degrees is straight up,
Right.
and 0 degrees is
Flat.
flat. And the angle that you calculated through that door is, I think you said 5 degrees or something like that?
The angle through the door directionally will be approximately 64 degrees. You're talking about.
I'm talking about rise.
The rise and incline is 5 to 7. Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to do a really bad job of drawing 5 to 7, but it's real close to flat. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. I'm showing you Defendant's Exhibit 7 as a demonstrative. This is a plastic replica of the Glock 43.
Correct.
Which is the one that had the solid
Full metal jacket.
full metal jacket projectile, and it's torn, so it's safe and can't hurt anybody. Fair?
Yeah.
And the first thing we notice about this gun is the barrel is incredibly short, right?
It's a shorter barrel, yes.
And in comparison, let's say to, our Beretta, right?
Yes, the 43 is a compact.
Compact. It's a tiny little short barrel. You can't really get a gun much shorter than that, can you? I'm sure you could, but the stuff that they sell at the store.
That's a standard compact.
Compact.
Okay.
And it's got a shorter barrel than the other pistol in this case, and that, of course, affects certain things because it's a shorter barrel, right?
Right.
Am I correct that it's harder to be accurate with a shorter barrel than it is with a longer one?
Longer barrels are more accurate for distance shooting, but again, what you're talking about, a small one like this, close range, it's effective.
Okay. So what we know is at the time the shot is fired through this door, it's almost flat at 5 degrees.
It's a narrow angle, yes.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
The up or down angle.
The up or down, yeah,
Yeah, it's at 5 to 7 degrees.
right. In other words, it's not like that, it's not like this.
Right.
It's almost flat at the moment that it's shot.
Yes.
Right. We don't know anything about how the gun was being held in the moments before the shot. What we know is at the moment it's shot, it's almost flat,
Yes.
right? We don't know if it's doing this in the moments before it's shot, based on what we have, right?
No, the only thing you've got is the entry angles.
You've got the very instant that the projectile is fired outside the gun. That's what you have.
Right.
It's locked in time. That very instant is locked in time by this trajectory through the door. Right?
Yes.
Okay. In other words, if it's like this, moments before I'm about to do it, if it's like this, you don't know if that's true or not. Could be like this.
Yes, I mean,
It just ended up here.
right.
If it's like this, you don't know that either.
Objection, this has been asked and answered 3 times now
We're doing a different motion.
with the
this time.
shaking.
Shaking, bouncing, circling. I mean,
Okay, so I'll sustain the objection. You can ask it another way, but I'm sustaining the objection.
you don't disagree that this evidence is consistent with, it could be, shaking up and down.
I've got the angle coming through the door. I mean, it's,
Gotcha.
when the shot was fired, it's at this angle.
Gotcha. But it's not inconsistent with even this. Just at the moment it's fired, it's right there.
It's right there, yes.
What we do know for a fact is when you shoot a gun at a piece of metal, let's say, that bullet can ricochet and go pretty much everywhere.
It can ricochet, it can fragment, it can penetrate.
It
I
can-
mean, it's,
Yeah,
it depends on what type of metal you're talking about versus,
sure. And there are variables, is what you're saying.
right.
Yeah, and so like in this case, one of the shots we know hit that, you called it a picket, which is just another word for it is baluster, as far as I understand. The little outside the room, one of the shots that was fired from the,
Yes,
hit a picket and just, I mean, it went absolutely everywhere, right?
right.
I mean, stuff flew out, there's pieces of the projectile out in the living room, right?
Correct.
There's stuff that flew down the hallway,
Correct.
right? All up on the ceiling of the hallway, I mean, this thing, it just shattered and went everywhere
Correct.
from hitting one piece of metal.
Right.
You obviously know that because you have experience with firearms,
Yes.
right? Someone with knowledge of if you shoot a piece of metal, that it could ricochet and go anywhere, that might give them concern, just like it would give you concern.
It could.
You wouldn't shoot at a piece of metal super close up. Fair?
It depends on what I'm trying to do with it. I'm sorry.
All right. Okay.
I'm not going to shoot at a steel target up close, but if I was trying to get through something,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Just if you want to redirect, Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, I just have some questions.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Step
does that
back
need to
down.
come down? Or,
Nope.
I'm sorry.
So looking here at State's Exhibit 198, the door, and let's talk a little bit about the gunpowder. Could banging on this door knock off gunpowder?
Yeah, any kind of blow to it, if you're hitting the door, striking the door, it could cause some of the gunpowder to bounce off or come off, yes.
Could banging on the door repeatedly in two different places near where the gunpowder was knock off the gunpowder?
Yes,
Could reaching your sleeved hand through a hole wipe off the gunpowder?
it could. And with the blood on the back of the door where it looks like the body was pushed, if you're having to push the door, put your arm against it, this area right in here, there's a good chance. That's why I'm looking at the stippling versus powder.
Okay, and so it sounds like you're saying that movement against the door can knock off gunpowder.
Yes,
Movement of the door can knock off gunpowder.
yes,
So a paramedic brushing against the door could knock off gunpowder.
yes. A first responding officer, so,
The defendant pushing the door open could knock off gunpowder.
yes.
Okay. And so you can have a seat back up. So is it fair to say that when you are making your opinion or your determination about the stippling, are you looking at gunpowder?
No.
What are you looking for?
Like I said, the gunpowder can be wiped away. The stippling is actually the impacts into the surface of whatever you're looking at, whether it's, in this case, the door, clothing, or skin.
And when you made your determination, when you looked at the door at the scene, did you make a determination at that time, before doing the test fires, of what your opinion of was from the muzzle of the gun to the door.
Observing the stippling, I thought it was going to be pretty close, yes. I mean, I did notice the stippling there. I didn't notice gunpowder on the door, but I did notice the stippling.
And so when you viewed the door at the scene and you looked at the stippling, what was your estimate of how far the muzzle of the gun was when it was fired?
I was pretty much what I still think now is about 6 inches away.
Okay. And so then did you later do anything to confirm that opinion?
I did do a demonstrative type firing into a door panel, yes.
Okay. And so tell the jury about what you did.
We cut a level door panel, or we cut a door into sections where we could mount it up onto basically this frame with a little bit more added to it. The door was leveled up. The gun was placed into a vise. We worked on getting the angles similar to the 64 and the 5 to 7 degree upward angle. And it was shot, test fired from the vise at 6 inches and 3 inches.
Okay. And so where did you do that?
It was at the Hall County range.
And you didn't use this door?
No.
So I'd like to switch over and use the Elmo. Okay, and I think we're going to go ahead and take the door down now, because I don't want to obstruct the juror's vision. Yeah. Is this thing good? Okay.
Thank you.
So when you were when you did your testing, I'm sorry, where did you say you did it?
It was at the Hall County range.
Okay, so when you were at the range doing the testing on a different door, how many settings did you, how many distances did
It
you
was a
test?
3 and 6 inch.
Okay. So I think that Mr. Willis showed us the 6 inch, so let me show you what I've got marked States Exhibit 200. You recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
It's a photograph showing the test fire at a 3 inch distance.
Okay. Judge, State Tenders Exhibit 200 into evidence.
Hearing no objection, it's admitted.
No objection, sorry.
All right. So can you tell the jury what we're looking at here in State's Exhibit 200?
You're just looking at the powder around the entrance, but you can also see the stippling, how the impacts into the paint are closer, they're tighter, where with a 6 inch it was backed up and it was more consistent with actually what we see on the door, or in my opinion, what I see on the door.
So then looking back at Defense Exhibit 3, that's the 6 inch pattern?
Yes.
And so based on the test fires that you did you form any different opinion, or what was your opinion about the stippling and the length from muzzle to target on the door, in this case, State's Exhibit 198?
No, when you saw the stippling there on the scene, it was, my opinion, that it was relatively close, probably within a 6 inch And the test fires just confirmed it.
Okay. So now I want to ask you, looking at State's Exhibit 43, I'm going to turn it around here. And then in connection with State's Exhibit 43, looking at, State's Exhibit 45. Now, looking at the footprints and the blood spatter that's on the bedspread, could that blood evidence be consistent with a person entering the room with the gun and with the holster, unsnapping the holster and throwing it on the bed?
Yes, I mean, the blood that's there is just basically dripping down. The holster itself had blood all over it, like it had been gripped, but you're talking about unsnapping it with bloody hands and just setting it onto the bed. Yes.
So I think Mr. Willis had asked you about a scenario where the gun's already in the room, but it would also be consistent with a scenario where the gun came into the room and the holster was laid under the bed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, we touched a little bit on cross on the paper bags that were on Mr. Barron's hands.
Yes, ma'am.
Would testing for gunshot residue on Mr. Barron's hands be of any evidentiary value in this case?
Not in this case. My understanding is that if you're in the room when a gun is fired, you don't necessarily have to be the one that pulls the trigger to get the powder on your hands or on your body. A lot of times we can't get testing done on someone who is a victim because the lab will say that they were there, they got shot, so we expect to find powder on them or gunshot residue on them.
Okay. And do you know, as far as the casings and the live rounds that you found in the septic tank, do you know if you found all the projectiles, casings, and fragments?
No, I don't think we found all the projectile fragments. And as far as shell casings, I'm not sure. Like, we found some items in the septic line, but I'm not sure if that was all that was there or if some had already gotten into the septic tank.
And in your opinion, did this crime scene look altered?
Yes, I mean, the fact that the shell casings were missing from the scene, later found in the septic tank, it did show that there was manipulation of the scene at some point.
Okay, and what about the bloody footprints?
The bloody footprints are a person walking around without the shoes. I mean, they're the bloody footprints are the ones that are going through the blood, walking around in the scene itself. There were a couple going down the stairs, so it's movement with someone walking through the blood.
Did you find some bloody footprints in the bathroom in that guest bedroom up there?
Yes.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Just a couple of things that I want to make sure we're super clear on. Specifically with respect to, you said bloody footprints going down the stairs. Okay.
Yes.
You are aware, and you probably have seen the first responders, body cameras and all that, that when Miss Mericle was called down from the bedroom, she came down those front stairs
Yes.
and was barefoot.
Yes.
And there's bloody footprints, presumably from that travel.
Right.
You're not saying, to make this abundantly clear, you're not saying there's bloody footprints from her going downstairs earlier, meaning before the cops show up.
I can't say when the footsteps were deposited going down the stairs.
Well, it's only one set.
Right.
Okay. And we know she comes down when the cops call her down because you see her on the camera.
Right.
Okay. You're not saying there's a second set of bloody footprints that proves she was running downstairs with bloody feet before the police show up?
No.
Okay. One last thing that Ms. Bagwell asked you about was gunshot residue, and she had some questions about whether it'd be valuable and stuff like that. Okay, so I want to ask you a couple follow-ups, okay?
Okay.
I think you said that in cases where somebody has been the recipient or victim of a shot like this, the lab, meaning the people that do the actual testing, those folks will say, well, we're not going to test for gunshot residue because in cases where you've been shot, that residue is going to come hit you anyway.
You expect to find it, yes.
You'd expect to find it. Person gets shot from a gun at close range, and it could spray residue on them. And so therefore the lab says, there's no point in us doing GSR or gunshot residue. There's no point in doing that because they're going to have residue on them anyway.
Right. Research, from what I understand, is if a gun is fired inside a room and somebody walks into the room within a few minutes, you can still actually get gunpowder residue from walking into the room.
But of course, in this case, the shot was fired behind a closed door, right?
Right.
Gunshot residue is not going to go through the door and get onto Mr. Barron from that shot.
I'm not sure how much would actually travel through. You're going to have a little bit that's going tracing the bullet, but I mean,
Okay.
I wouldn't expect to find a lot, no.
We're going to have to be satisfied, is what you're saying, with the fact that nobody tested Mr. Barron's hands for gunshot residue.
No, they weren't tested.
And that's a decision that you made or that someone else made?
I believe we asked the lab to check his hands, and they may have done a GSR kit on him, but I'm not sure. It was never processed, to my knowledge.
I guess I'm just trying to find out who made the decision to not do the test, if you know.
I don't know.
Last thing, I think when Ms. Bagwell was asking you about the stuff that got flushed down the toilet, I want to make super clear that everybody knows that fragments weren't flushed down the toilet. Fragments of shots.
We didn't find any fragments of the shots.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. You're saying it's possible that somebody could have gone around and picked up some fragments and also...
Yes, because we're talking about the rounds that we were talking about scattering.
Yep.
You had the copper jackets. There were a good bit of copper jacket fragments, but the lead core, I could not find the fragments of lead core.
What we know for a fact is what I want to talk about with respect to the stuff that got flushed, okay?
The only thing that we recovered from the septic line is going to be the live rounds and the shell casings.
Live rounds and shell cases, live rounds and shell casings is what you found in the septic lines.
Yes.
Okay. And of course, this is a house that's in North Hall County, right?
Yes.
It's not on, city sewer. It's not on the city's sewer.
No, it's got a septic tank.
It's got a septic tank, and for most people know this, but I just want to be super, super clear. If you have a septic tank, it doesn't go and leave the property. It stays in the septic tank.
Yes.
And what you're saying is, we went through the pipes, but we didn't go into the septic tank, and there might be some stuff in there.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No further questions.
Statement, this witness be excused.
Yes, Judge.
Defense.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you for your testimony. You're excused.
The state calls Bryson Miller.